All right, what we're going to do today is talk about equations with parentheses. What I need you to do in your journal is make sure you title that right there, and then you're writing this down right here. If you haven't done that already, well, you're just a little bit behind. You need to pause the video. We're going to do 3 minus 2, open parentheses, 9 plus 2m, close parentheses, equals another m. Oh my goodness, what in the world are we going to do? Does anybody know what we are going to distribute throughout this expression right here? Anybody know what we're going to distribute? Yes, sir. What you got? That's right, -2. You got it. Good job. We're going to take this -2 right here, and we're going to distribute it to this guy, and we're going to distribute it to this guy. So here's what you got. You got 3, and you got -2 times 9, which is -18, which I'm sure you already know. And then -2 times a positive 2m, which is a -4m, equals another m. So step 1, when you see equations with parentheses, what's going to be basically the very first step? What are you going to have to do? You're going to have to distribute. All right, I don't know what you're going to have to distribute, but if you have equations with parentheses, you're definitely going to have to distribute. All right, now the next thing we're going to do, is we're going to scan this. All right, we're going to scan this. We're going to combine like terms. I'm going to put combine like terms. All right, combine like terms. All right, now we got to scan. All right, now make sure you know you can't combine terms that are on opposite sides of the equal sign. You can only combine terms on the same side of the equal sign. Does anybody see any terms that we could combine? Anything that looks like that you could combine? Yes, sir? That's right, 3 and -18. We can combine these right here. Totally can combine those. All right, so we got 3 minus 18, which is -15 minus 4m equals m. Now step number 3, we need to do what's called isolate the variable. We got to get all the variables to one side of the equation. But isolate. Hold on. Isolate the variable. There we go. Isolate the variable. That's horrible. Come on, stupid board. There we go. Now, if you're wondering what isolate the variable means, it means get all of the variables to one side of the equal sign. So right now we got a -4m on this side, and we got a positive m on this side. So here's what I'm going to do. I usually move it to where there are the most variables. Well, over here, we have more. You're like, how can we have more? Because that's 1, and that's -4. And so when you think of the number line, I'm just going to draw a quick little number line if you're wondering what in the world you are talking about. Like, how is 1 more than a -4? So think of the number line, all right? And then right here you have a 0, and right here you're at a 1, and then way over here you're at a -4. So when I think of -4m, I think about being over here. When I think of 1m, I think about being over here. So this is more than this, if you're wondering what I'm talking about. So how do I get rid of a -4m and get it to 0? Well, I'll have to do what's called its additive inverse. All right? I got to add 4m to this side, and I got to add 4m to this side. And when you add 4m to both sides, these cancel out, and all you're left with on the left-hand side of the equal sign is a -15. Here you got 1m, and you got 4 more m's, so you got a total of 5 m's. All right? So good job. We isolated the variable. And basically, the next thing you'd have to do is you have to move all the numbers to the other side of the equal sign. But since they're already there, we're good to go. And we're going to do the last step now. Okay? Last step is we're going to divide by 5, which happens to be the number that's in front of the variable. So we're just going to divide both sides by 5. And we get m equals -3. All right, and that's what we get. Now, if you ever wanted to check your answer, to see if it worked, what you would do is you take this -3, all right, and then you take it and you would plug it in right there, and then you'd plug it in right here. And I'm quickly going to do it I'm going to do 3 minus 2, 9, and then 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, and we're going to set it equal to negative 3. And then here we got 3 minus 2 times 9 minus 6 is 3, to see that that's equal to a negative 3. And 3 minus 6 actually equals a negative 3. So negative 3 equals negative 3. So if you plug it in, that's what it would look like. Now I'm going to go to our graphing calculator, because sometimes you're like, man, I don't want to do all that. So you could technically put it in the graphing calculator and test it. I guess that's not working really quick. All right, hold on, I'm going to pause real quick. So I've opened up this graphing calculator called Desmos, all right? And you can, obviously, you can use your TI-84 Plus CE or TI-84, but we're going to use Desmos because it's easier to see. So let's take a look at our equation. It says 3 minus 2, parentheses, 9 plus 2m. Now, Desmos does not graph in terms of m, all right, but it does graph in terms of x. So I'm going to put 3, all right, minus 2, open parentheses, and then I'm going to put 9 plus 2x. So we'll put 9 plus 2x and close the parentheses. All right, and what you see in front of you is you see a line. This is a linear function that it just graphs for you. All right. Then see how it says equals m? So in another slot, what I'm going to do, in another slot, instead of m, I'm going to put x. All right, right there, put x. And then interestingly enough, this blue line crosses this red line. And interestingly enough, do you see where it actually crosses it at? Negative 3, negative 3. Now, the important thing is where it crosses the x value, where it crosses. The y value, they share the same y value, but the answer is always going to be the x value. Okay? So what was our answer? Our answer ended up being what? Negative 3. And that's a way you could check your work. Now, obviously, if you have access to a calculator, could you do that every single time? Oops, didn't mean to do that. That was weird. There we go. You could. All right, you could. All right, but what we're going to do here, 1 second. Now, we're going to go ahead and do this problem. This problem is not going to take nearly as long. It's pretty quick. All right, you have m equals negative, got parentheses 4, plus m plus 2. All right, and so what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to take this negative and distribute it to both values. So that's step 1. I'm not going to write down all the steps. We just wrote down all the steps for the last one. We're just going to do the steps on this one. So we got m equals, we have a negative to a 4, so that makes it negative 4, and a negative to an m, that makes it a negative m plus 2. So here's our equal sign. It'll let me draw it down. Come on. There we go. That's better. All right. So now we got to scan here, and we've got to add some like terms together. So you just have to look for terms that you can actually add. And I've got a negative 4 that I can add, and I've got a 2 that I can add. So I can combine those. All right, so I have m equals negative 4 plus a 2 is negative 2 minus an m. Now, do we have all of our variables on one side of the equal sign? We do not have all of them on one side of the equal sign. So you have to make a choice. Do we want to move them over here to the left side? We want to move them over here to the right side. What do you guys think would be the easiest thing to do? Moving them to the left or moving them to the right? Moving them to the right? Okay, let's see what happens if we move them right. Okay? Then I'd have to take away an m, and I'd have to take away another m if I move them to the right. And so here's what I have. If we move them to the right, we have 0 equals negative 2 minus 2m. That's what would have happened if we moved everything to the right. Okay? Now, what would have happened if we would have moved everything to the left? If we move everything to the left, then I would add an m to this side and 0 it out, and then I would add an m to this side, and what's m plus an m? That's a total of 2 m's. So what would you guys rather look at? 2m equals negative 2, or would you like to look at 0 equals negative 2 minus 2m? Which appears to be easier to solve at this point? The one on the left or the one on the right? What would you guys say? I'm going to pause because my students have no idea. All right, so I paused the video, and honestly, I really don't know exactly what I said right before this because I went on a rant with my class about making sure you get all the variables on one side and the numbers on the other. So hopefully you know that. Okay, so now that we got the 2m's over here and the negative 2 over here, what are we going to divide both sides by, everybody? That's right, 2. I like it. Good job. All right, so 2 divided by 2. So we got m equals negative 2 divided by 2. That's negative 1. Now, this is going to be the fun part for you, okay? We're going to check this, but we're going to check it using Desmos, okay? So Desmos does not graph in terms of m, it graphs in terms of x, okay? So right here, see where it says m? So we go to Desmos, all right? And I'm going to, for the m, I'm just going to put an x. And then for this, I'm going to put negative parentheses, got it. Okay, got negative parentheses, I think it was 4 plus x, close parentheses, and there was what? Plus 2? So I'll put plus 2. Now check this out, everybody. Look where the x value is. The x value is at a negative 1 right there. Okay? Don't worry about the y values, worry about the x value because that's our answer. I know some of you are thinking, wow, is it always going to be the same number? No, it's not always going to be the same number. We just happen to be there both times where the x value and the y value were the same. All right, here's the last one we're going to do for equations with parentheses. This is the last one, so please write this down. Right here, write that down. We are going to solve for r. It's not going to take that long. We just got to make sure we take our time and do it right. So we have 4r minus 3 equals 3 parentheses 3r plus 4. That's what we have. All right? So what we're going to do first is I'm going to put a little railroad right there for the equal sign to make sure you know, hey, this is on one side of the equal sign. We call this the left side, and we call this the right side. And I'm going to make a highlighter here. I'm going to highlight some number. What number do you think I'm going to highlight? Because we got to distribute it. It's a magic number. 3, yes, 3. It's a magic number. Yes, it is. It's a magic number. Just look at Schoolhouse Rock one day and you can watch that video and laugh. All right, so here we go. We're going to distribute. We got 4r minus 3 equals 3 times 3r is a total of? Good, I heard you. 9r. Good job. And 3 times 4 is? 12. Excellent. All right, now we have to make a decision. Where are we going to put all the variables? Where are we going to isolate them, huh? Are we going to isolate them on the left? Are we going to isolate them on the right? Where do you guys want them? Left or right? Left or right? Correct, right. I like it. Why? Because there's more of them. It makes it easier. All right, so what is the additive inverse of a 4r, everybody? Say it loud. Go ahead. Wow, that is not loud at all. All right, good job, though. Hey, hopefully you picked up on YouTube. You'd be a YouTube sensation. All right, so that zeroes out. It's all right, everybody. I just got a whole bunch of scared students in my class, afraid they're going to make a mistake. But you know what? We were all once scared. I'm still scared. I just turned older today. I'm just getting older, getting closer and closer to death. That's okay. We all die. All right, but just got to get used to it. All right. So, I know, talking about death and doing math at the same time. Woo! That's supposed to be a math class. All right, so here we go. Now we got all the variables to one side. What are we going to do? Nobody watches these videos anyways. They're instructional videos. It's like, who's going to watch these, right? Nobody. All right. No, nobody's going to watch this. All right. Now, I'm hoping the person I have as an online student actually watches this, but, you know, who knows. So here we go. What are we going to do with this 12 right here? What's the additive inverse of a 12? Negative 12, yeah. So we minus 12 on this side, minus 12 on this side. All right, so we get negative 15 equals what? Wait a second. I messed up. What did I forget? I forgot I did minus 4r on this side, but what did I forget? I forgot to do what? Minus 4 on that side. You guys, somebody should have told me about that. Oh well. Okay, so actually we don't have 9 R's. We have a total of 5 R's. My apologies. All right, but that's okay. Sometimes you might forget something, but just make sure you remember it before you submit your answer. Okay. All right. So when I forgot to take, I took away 4R from this side. I forgot to take 4R away from that side. We always got to balance our equation. My apologies. All right. So now here's what we got left. We got 5R is equal to negative 15. So what is our final and last step? Divide both sides by what number? 5. I like it. And we get R equals negative 3. That's what we get. R equals negative 3. All right, so I'm going to review it real quick because I was kind of all over the place. So here we go. First thing we did was distribute. So we distributed the 3 to both those and got 9R plus 12. The next thing that we did that we didn't quite do correctly, when I say we, I mean me, is we need to take away 4R from both sides. Then what did we do? We took away 12 from, we took away 12 from both sides, got negative 15, then divided both sides by 5. In review, you got to distribute, you got to isolate the variable to one side, you need to move all the constants to the other side, and then eventually divide by the number that's in front of the letter, and you get it. So let's go ahead and type this in. In Desmos, type in 4x minus 3 and 1. 4x minus 3 and 1. So I'll go and clear this out, and I will type in 4x minus 3. All right, in one slot. In the other slot, you're going to type in 3 parentheses 3x plus 4. All right. 3 parentheses 3x plus 4. All right. Now, what you do is you look for where the two lines cross. And what is the x value where the two lines cross? The x value is at a negative 3. So what's the only thing that I did differently? Instead of putting in R, I put in x. And that's it. And then you could hopefully you can clearly see that, hey, that's the x value where they cross, which allows you just to type in, hey, a negative 3. Now, are you going to be allowed to use Desmos as a graphing calculator when you're taking a test? Yes. All right. Do I want you to know how to do it by hand? Yes, because will you have to take a test at some point where you're not allowed to use a calculator? Absolutely. So that's what you guys are going to be doing. Equations with parentheses. Good luck.